In this video, we're going on an air balloon ride near Luxor in Egypt, and we look at the good, the bad, and the ugly sides of it all. If you're thinking of going on a hot air balloon ride near Luxor, I would certainly recommend it. You'll need to book ahead of time, and then you'll need to get up at about 4 AM in the morning, especially if you're going for the sunrise option. You'll be brought to the balloon site in a minibus. You may have to cross the Nile in a boat, but you'll eventually arrive at the launching site. When you get to the balloon you're going to travel in, you'll have to climb into the basket. It's about 4 foot high, but there are footholds you can use to climb in. The high edge is part of the safety features so that you don't fall out when you're up in the air. Depending on the time of year, it may be cold when you get up in the morning, but it will get warmer once the sun comes up. Also, be aware that the burners which heat the air in the balloon have a very hot blaze, and if you're close to them, you will notice that your hair and your head gets very hot, so watch for that. Also, the direction your balloon travels in depends on the wind at the time. Your pilot will also dictate where you go, as his knowledge of the winds at the different heights will allow him navigate around the area. You'll see later how our pilot did a very skillful job at finding our landing spot. You're going to be in the air for about 30 to 60 minutes. It depends on the weather and how far the wind brings your balloon away from the launching site. Air balloon rides in Luxor are some of the most affordable in the world. If you're with a group, your guide will probably organise the trip for you. If you're looking for a balloon ride in Luxor, you can check what's available online. Be sure to check the company's reviews and comments from their customers. Do this to make sure they are reliable and provide a good service and have a good safety record. The costs start at around $50 or €50 and can go up to maybe $200 or more. Depends on what else you're adding in. These prices are for the year 2024. You can ride in a hot air balloon in Luxor generally all year round. There's no off-season, but the weather will dictate whether there will be flights or not. Our journey took us over the farmland around the staging area. When we got to a good height, we were able to see the mortuary temple of Hatshepsut, the Ramesseum, where you can see the temple of Ramses II, and the Colossi of Memnon. We probably got to a height of 1,500 feet, or 500 meters, but I believe these balloons can go a lot higher. I'm using the same camera I've used throughout this trip, which is the Insta360 X4. It's a 360 camera, and it has this magic ability of being able to make the stick that I have the camera on disappear. In this shot here, I'm on the corner and you can just about see some of the selfie stick, but for the most part it's invisible. This is part of the magic of the software within the camera and its editing software. If you're interested, there's a link in the description below where you can purchase a similar camera. Be aware that the authorities do not like big cameras like DSLRs or anything that has a lot of gear. The 360 camera is quite small, so there was no objection from anyone. If you have a fear of heights or flying, this could be a gentle way of meeting that fear and conquering it. When the balloon lifts off, you hardly notice that you've left the ground. It floats gently upwards. When you're in the basket of the balloon, you feel quite safe and there's no fear of falling out. The landing of the balloon is also quite gentle. Now, there have been reports of it being a bit bumpy, but we found it to be very gentle, and as you can see, the ground crew were very good at bringing the balloon to a safe spot. As we come into land, the pilot throws a line to the ground team below, as you can see from this balloon. They're now pulling the balloon over the crops into a better area where the balloon can land safely and easily. Our pilot has managed to get us back to the same spot where we started from, the staging area. This is why his ground crew are singing his praises by chanting his name, Muhammad, Muhammad, because he's done such a good job of getting the balloon back to the right place and made their job so much easier. Now, how safe is air balloon travel in Egypt? We found it very safe. As you can see in this shot, there are 27 people in the basket with the pilot in the middle. It was quite comfortable, and while it might have been a little tight, nobody complained of overcrowding. Now, there was one very serious crash here in Luxor in February 2013, where 19 out of 21 people on board a balloon were killed. A fire developed in the basket due to a leak in the balloon's gas fuel system, causing the balloon to deflate mid-air and crash to the ground. It was the deadliest balloon accident in history since the Hindenburg disaster in 1937, which killed 36 people. However, since then the safety standards have improved a lot. But like I said earlier, check the safety record and customer comments on the company that you're planning on using to make sure you're happy to travel with them. In conclusion, so still on the safety issue, if you look at the number of balloons that went up on the same day as we traveled, there were about 30 flying, and they went up maybe 3 times that day, so that means there was about 100 flights without any issue. Similar to flying and living, there are risks to everything we do, but you decide if you want to risk it. We certainly enjoyed the experience, and in fact it was one of the highlights of the holiday. So whatever you decide to do, we wish you well in all your travels. Bye now.